In 1492, Christopher Columbus crossed the Atlantic searching for Asia and stumbled into a world Europe barely knew existed. For centuries, European powers had depended on trade with the East. Spices, silk, gold, and luxury goods flowed from Asia into Europe. But reaching them was slow, dangerous, and extremely expensive. Powerful kingdoms and merchants controlled the major trade routes, and after the Ottoman Empire expanded, access became even more difficult. So European rulers began searching for another way. One idea seemed almost impossible: sailing west across the Atlantic to reach Asia. Most educated people already knew the Earth was round, but many believed the ocean was simply too vast to cross. Christopher Columbus disagreed. An Italian navigator, Columbus believed Asia was much closer westward than it truly was. For years, he tried convincing European rulers to fund the expedition. Most rejected him. The journey looked dangerous, uncertain, and potentially disastrous. But eventually, Spain agreed. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella approved the voyage. In August 1492, Columbus departed Spain with 3 ships: the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The expedition sailed farther into the Atlantic than most European crews had ever dared. Weeks passed with no land in sight. Supplies began running low. Morale weakened. Some sailors feared they would never make it home. Tension aboard the ships grew steadily, but Columbus continued west. Then, in the early hours of October 12th, land was finally spotted. After more than 2 months at sea, the expedition had reached the Bahamas. Columbus believed he had arrived near Asia. He hadn't. Instead, the voyage had reached continents largely unknown to Europeans at the time. The discovery changed history permanently. Columbus explored parts of the Caribbean and claimed them for Spain. He also encountered Indian tribes who had lived there for generations. At first, many interactions were cautious and uncertain, but European expansion quickly followed. More expeditions arrived, settlements were established, and Spain rapidly began building an empire across the Americas. The consequences were enormous. Trade between continents expanded dramatically. Animals, crops, wealth, diseases, and populations began moving across the Atlantic on a massive scale. Europe became richer and more powerful. But for many Indian tribes, the arrival of Europeans became catastrophic. Disease spread rapidly. Entire populations collapsed. Wars, conquest, and forced labor followed. What began as a search for Asia had opened an entirely new era of world history. And although Columbus died believing he had reached the edge of Asia, his voyage had revealed an entirely different world.